Hello, everybody. Solid Stricone here. I don't normally do this kind of thing, but gosh darn it, there's so much misinformation and misunderstanding floating around that I felt like I gotta say something. Okay, so I'm gonna explain something about the whole net neutrality debate that maybe, perhaps, not everybody is aware of. And it has to do with how the American system of government works. Let's get one thing out of the way first. Congress is not involved in this argument in any way. That means the House of Representatives and the Senate. Complaining about them won't do anything. The president is only even marginally involved in this because he is in charge of assigning department heads to the various offices of the executive branch, including the FCC. Granted, Ajit Pai was Trump's pick, but we're stuck with him for now, so complaining about Trump isn't going to get a hell of a lot done. The FCC, for those who don't know, stands for Federal Communications Commission. They're in charge of the rules and regulations regarding the structure of communication networks. This includes cellular phones, television, radio, and yes, internet. And yes, the FCC is currently debating over whether or not current laws allow internet service providers to pick and choose how to provide their service. They are making a decision on that policy. Now, I'm going to go on record and say I am in favor, obviously, of net neutrality. I firmly believe that the internet should not be sped up for anyone or slowed down for anyone for any reason. I believe, in fact, that internet service providers should be turned into infrastructure only, and that access to the network be sold by companies who purchase shares of the service and sell it on. They did something like that here in Texas with the power companies. A company like Centerpoint provides the grid and the structure, and other people, like Amigo Energy and so forth, handle the billing, and it makes for a lot more competition in the marketplace. But I digress, that is not what I'm here to talk about. So let's talk about what happens. If the FCC decides to maintain net neutrality, then nothing happens. Things go on as before. But what happens if they rule that internet providers can do as they like and jack speeds up or throttle them down based on whatever reasons they want? That is where the inevitability of the court system comes in. Yes, folks, we in the United States have a judicial system, who is the final say on how laws are interpreted. Whenever you hear someone bring up a court case like Roe v. Wade or Plessy v. Ferguson, or whatever other V's they are referencing Supreme Court cases whose decisions have defined the meanings of laws. Now, here's how I see this going. If the FCC says net neutrality is done, then I guarantee you that it will be immediately challenged. The court system in the United States is amazingly complex, so I'll try to summarize it for you. Cases will begin in the federal circuits, where matters concerning laws for the entire country are decided. There are quite a few layers of the federal court circuits, but suffice it to say that there will be court cases at the bottom whose verdicts will be either for or against the net neutrality ruling, and there are circuits above those, and so on, right up to the Supreme Court. Now, the beautiful thing about the judicial system is that until the Supreme Court have put down their say, then everything can be challenged. No word is final. If the bottom circuit decides that no, in fact, the internet companies cannot do their customers like that, then it becomes the law of the land for the moment. The next level up will receive a challenge to the lower level's ruling. This will go on and on until it does get to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court may decide not to even hear the case, making the most recent court's ruling the law of the land, or they may decide to hear the case and render their own verdict. Now, once the Supreme Court have made a decision, that is it. There are no further appeals. The buck stops here, the matter is closed forever. In other words, the FCC may very well decide against net neutrality, but that problem will just get kicked on to the courts, and the courts will kick it on up the chain, and basically just stop freaking out. I'm not saying anything here about how likely one thing or another will be. I'm not making any predictions on how things will go, but what I am trying to do is get people to understand where in our system this matter sits, and it's not with the president or Congress.